Hello again, guys. Hope you are well. I'm about to read the next part of the BFG for you. So last time we saw Sophie very nearly gobbled up by that nasty blood bottler giant. But she was spat out across the cave and he left because he did not like the taste of snozcumbers. So now they're alone in the cave, the BFG and Sophie. And Sophie is getting thirsty. By now, Sophie was beginning to feel not only extremely hungry, but very thirsty as well. Had she been at home, she would have finished her breakfast long ago. Are you sure there's nothing else to eat around here except those disgusting, smelly snozcumbers? She asked. Not even a fizzwinkle, answered the big friendly giant. Well, in that case, may I have a little bit of water? She asked. Water? Said the BFG, frowning mightily. What is water? We drink it, Sophie said. What do you drink? Frobscottle, announced the BFG. All giants is drinking frobscottle. Ugh, is it as nasty as those snozcumbers? Sophie asked. Nasty? Cried the BFG. Never is it nasty. Frobscottle is sweet and jumbly. He got up from his chair and went over to a second huge cupboard, and he opened it and took out a glass bottle that must have been 6 feet tall. That's as tall as Mr. Green. A bottle 6 feet tall, and the liquid inside it was a pale green colour. And the bottle was half full. Here is frobscottle, he cried, holding up the bottle, proud and high, as though it contained some rare wine. Delumptious fizzy frobscottle, he shouted, and he gave it a shake. Shh. And the green stuff began to fizz like mad inside the bottle. But look, it's fizzing the wrong way, Sophie cried. Indeed it was. The bubbles, instead of going up and bursting on the surface, they were shooting downwards to the bottom and bursting at the bottom of the bottle. A pale green frothy fizz was forming at the bottom of the bottle. And there is the BFG holding up his huge bottle of frobscottle. What on earth yous meaning the wrong way? Asked the BFG. Well, in our fizzy drinks, Sophie said, the bubbles always go up and they burst at the top of the drink. Upwards? That's the wrong way, cried the BFG. You mustn't ever be having bubbles going upwards. That's the most flush-bunking rubbish I ever is hearing. Why'd you say that then? Sophie asked. You's asking me why? Cried the BFG, waving the enormous bottle around as though he were conducting an orchestra. You's actually meaning to tell me you cannot see why it is a scrotty big mistake to have the bubbles flying up instead of down? You said it was flush-bunking. Now you say it's scrotty. What is it? Sophie asked politely. Both, cried the BFG. It's flush-bunking and scrotty mistake to let the bubbles go upwards. If you can't see why, you must be as quacky as a duckhound. By Ringo, your head must be so full of frog squinkers and buzzwangles, I is frittered if I know how you can think at all. But why shouldn't the bubbles go upwards? Sophie asked him. I will explain, the BFG said. But tell me first, what name is you calling your frobscottle then? Well, one is called Coke, Sophie said. Another Pepsi. There's lots of fizzy drinks. And the bubbles is all going up. They all go up, yes, Sophie said. That is catastrophe, cried the BFG. Upgoing bubbles is a catastrophe disastrophe. Okay, will you please just tell me why? Sophie said. If you will listen carefully, I will try to explain, said the BFG. but your brain is so full of bug whiffles I doubt you would understand. I will do my best, said Sophie patiently. Very well then. When you is drinking this cokey drink of yours, is it going straight down into your tummy? Is that right or left? That's right, Sophie said. And the bubbles? Bubbles is going into your tummy, right or left? Yes, that's right. And the bubbles is fizzing upwards, you say? Of course. Which means, said the BFG, they will all come whiffling up your throat and out of your mouth and make a felsome belchy burp. Yeah, that is often true, Sophie said. But what's wrong with a little burp now and again? It's actually sort of fun. Burping is filthsome, the BFG said. Us giants, we's never doing it. But with your drink, Sophie said, what was it you called it? Frobscottle. With Frobscottle, Sophie said, the bubbles in your tummy will be going downwards. That could have a far nastier result. Why is that nasty? Asked the BFG, frowning. Because, Sophie said, blushing a little, if they go down instead of up, they'll be coming out somewhere else, even louder and ruder. Yeah, a whiz popper! Cried the BFG, beaming at her. Us giants is making whiz poppers all the time. Whiz popping is a sign of happiness. It is music to our ears. You sure he's not telling me that a little whiz popping is forbidden among human beings? Well, it is considered rather rude, Sophie said. But you is whiz popping, isn't you, now and again? Asked the BFG. Everybody is whiz popping, if that's what you call it, Sophie said. Kings and queens are whiz popping. Presidents are whiz popping. Glamorous film stars are whiz popping. Even little babies are whiz popping. But where I come from, it's not very polite to talk about it. Redonkulous, said the BFG. If everybody is making whiz poppers, then why not talk about it? We is now having a swiggle of this delicious Frobscottle and you would see the happy result. And the BFG shook the bottle vigorously. The pale green stuff fizzed and bubbled, and he removed the cork and took a tremendous gurgling swig. Oh, it is glummy. I love it. For a few moments, the BFG stood quite still, and a look of absolute ecstasy began to spread over his long, wrinkly face. Can you make a face of ecstasy like it's the best thing in the world? Suddenly, the heavens opened and the BFG let fly with a series of the loudest and rudest noises that Sophie had ever heard in her life. They reverberated around the walls of the cave like thunder, and the glass jars rattled on their shelves. But, most astonishing of all, the force of these explosions actually lifted the BFG clear off his feet like a rocket. Whoopee! He cried, and he came back down to earth. Now that is whiz popping for you. Sophie burst out laughing. She couldn't help it. Have some for yourself, Sophie, he cried, tipping the neck of the enormous bottle towards her. Don't you have a cup, please? Sophie said. No, no cups, only bottle. And Sophie opened her mouth, and very gently the BFG poured the bottle forward and tipped some of that fabulous Frobscottle down her throat. Oh gosh, how delicious it was. It was sweet and creamy, refreshing, tasted like vanilla with just the faintest trace of raspberries on the edge of the flavour. The bubbles were wonderful. Sophie could actually feel them bouncing and bursting all around her tummy. It was an amazing sensation. It felt as though hundreds of tiny people were dancing a jig inside her, tickling her with their toes. It was just lovely. It is lovely, she cried. Just you wait, cried the BFG, flapping his ears. Sophie could feel the bubbles travelling lower and lower in her tummy, and then suddenly, inevitably, the explosion came. The trumpet sounded, and she too made the walls of the cavern ring with the sound of music and thunder. Bravo! Shouted the BFG, waving his bottle. You is very good for a beginner. Let's have some more. And there is a very funny picture of the BFG lifted into the air with his whiz popper. I wonder if it smells. Anyway, that's where we'll leave it for today. But I will be back soon to read you the next part of the BFG. Take care. See you soon. Bye.